Alright gang, this is the Blender tutorial for Interactive Media, IMT121. I'm going to open up Blender here real quick. I am in a Mac, but this is going to operate the same way in Windows. So this is the newest one, 2.8. So if yours looks different than this, that you've got an older one, or if you're using the ones that are installed at Stark State, they are also going to be in the older ones. So we're just going to start with a general new file, and there we are. So you've got a few ways to move around here. You've got this toolbar circle thing. You can grab anywhere in there and turn it, rotate around. You can move along certain planes. You can go to preset viewpoints by using these quick dot things. Or we can operate in our 3D space. The other way to move around is if you have a two button and a scroll wheel kind of mouse, left and right, and scroll. If I hold down my scroll button and move my mouse around, I can orbit and turn things the way I want to. I can zoom in and out by rotating the scroll wheel. So that's good. Anything that is wrapped with this orange line, that's been selected, so I click off of it to deselect, click on it again. So the biggest difference you're going to notice with this new version is I have it set up to work like every other program on the planet, which means that to select anything or deselect anything, I'm going to click the left mouse button. The older version that the school is going to have, you are going to right click everything to select them. So if I do that here, I just get my pop-up menu. So that's the biggest issue with Blender, is that you got to remember to right click everything in the older programs. But this newer one, if you've downloaded this to your laptop or desktop, then left clicking like normal is going to work splendiferously. Okay, so here's my object, and I can rotate around. The other thing that you may want to play with is your view. So we've got a view here. I can split the area and make more windows, but for the most part I'm just going to stick with what I've got. So I've got viewport, view. I can look at my top view, the bottom view, front or back, right or left, or perspective, which is what I'm in now. And then camera. If I click on my camera view, boop, you got this dark gray outline. So everything that is lit up normally inside this box is what the camera sees. And the camera, let me go back to another viewpoint. So I go to top and then rotate down, scroll out, there's my camera right there. So it is that point looking out through that box there at this object. This is my light source. We don't really have to worry about that for what we're doing here in this class. I've got some tools over here. These are my basic tools. I can click on move. So if I click it, you'll see that these changed. Now I can grab these arrows and move it along the different axes by grabbing those arrows. I can rotate it. So now I've got this wheel and it's showing me how much I can rotate it by. And remember Control Z or Command Z. Either one is going to get you back to your original space. Here's my scale, so I can make it bigger or smaller. And those are all the basic tools that you are going to be using. The other thing that we are going to use specifically is there's two modes that you're going to operate in. Let me go back to just my pointer. So with my object selected, right now I'm in object mode. Object mode allows me to use these tools here and also to generally manipulate the overall shape of this object. But if I go into edit mode, which is what we will be doing a lot of, now I've got more to work with. So you see these points here on the corners, those are vertices. And right now I've got it selected where I can just choose the vertexes I want to use. So if I hold Shift key, I can grab several of them. So I've got 3 here, and then if I move just those 3, you're going to see some weirdness happening. So now it's warping everything. So I undo that. So that's vertice select. I can click this middle one. This is edge select. So now I can grab any edge along this box. So any connecting line between 2 dots. And if I hold my Shift key, I can grab more than one and move them like I did with the last one. Undo. And I also have face select. So I can grab the entire top plane and I can pull it. I can grab this side, pull it. If I rotate it, let's see, something weird's probably going to happen. Yep, so if you go too far, you're going to start crossing vertices and things get really strange. So they're going back to my original shape. So those are the basic parameters of how to manipulate the object inside this program, inside Blender. And I'm going to pause for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, so if, let me go back to object mode. So you got the whole object. The other thing is if you want to delete something, you can right click and delete it, or you can hit the X key and it'll ask you, okay, do you want to delete? Yes, I want to delete. So that's kind of important. This little point here that you're seeing, that's your target. Anything you create is going to appear in that location. So I'm going to add an object. So it's going to be a mesh shape and it's going to be a sphere. So here's my UV sphere, boom, right there. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. So this is the part of the tutorial which is the bug creation. So you don't have to do this one necessarily. If you want to create something else, you can definitely do that. Create whatever you want. I'm going to scale just downward. So I grab the blue axis, the Z axis, and so now I've squashed it down by using my scale key and that blue tab and just pushed it downward. So now I've got this kind of weird bubble shape. I'm going to add another object. That's going to be the body of my bug. So now I'm going to add another sphere. Boop, and it's actually inside my first sphere. So you can do one of two things. Whoops, got some medicine alerted there. Okay, so I'm going to push this one back. I've got my move selected, and I've got the larger flattened sphere. I'm going to slide it back along my the red axis, the x-axis, and I'm going to jump over to top view just so I can see where my head is in relation. So now I'm still in move mode and I select and move my head forward, and they're on the same plane so I don't have to worry too much about that, but I'm going to make it a little bigger just so the head of my bug is bigger. And you can add as many parts to this bug as you want to, if you want to add the thorax and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of hang out with that shape right there. So you'll see that they're intersecting. That's fine for this project. Again, the idea is just to get used to using these tools in the 3D space. So now I've got my head and my body. Next I want to create the legs, and I'm going to create one leg and then duplicate it. So I'm going to create a cube. You'll see it's inside the other objects. So because it's basically anywhere that this little red and white circle crosshair is, that's where your object is going to appear. I'm going to go to my top view. Okay, and I'm going to start moving this around. So I'm going to slide it over and back. So I'm going to have 6 legs total coming out each direction here. And this is, right now it's a little too large, so I'm going to scale it down to something like that, and then use my move tool and slide it back. So I'm still just manipulating entire objects. So I'm not messing with any vertices or faces yet. I'm going to kind of plant it inside his body so that they're all joined together. So now what I can do is start to manipulate that cube shape. And let's see if I can. If I hold my shift key down and the middle mouse scroll wheel and hold those two together and move my mouse, I can pan up and down, or dolly up and down, whatever it is. Actually, it's pedestaling up and down, so that I can kind of get on the same level, or I can get closer to this this box. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so now I want to start creating my leg shape. So I've got my object selected. I'm going to kick over to edit mode, and you see it's still defaulted to the face setting, but it's got everything selected. So I'm going to click in the empty space here and then go back and grab the face. And then I'm going to use this tool here, extrude region. So I click on that, and you'll see I've got this plus sign, and I can click and pull it out. So now I'm extending that space. Now what I want to do is click over here to my vertex select. I want to create an angle and start turning this this leg downward. So I'm going to grab these top 2 vertices by clicking one and then holding shift and click the other one. And you can see the regions that by that orange line that they're kind of fading off. They're grabbing a good section of that. That's because we're still in extrude. I'm going to turn that off and just go back to my select box. And now I want to go to change my viewport. So I want to, let me see what I, not the front, we want something else. Maybe it's the side, right? Yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to click move. So I still have those top 2 vertices selected. And with my move tool, I'm going to slide it along the y-axis, the green axis. And see, I've got an angle now. So if I go back to my perspective, there you go. Holding shift and middle mouse and rotate, I can see that I've got a different angle going now. So now I can go back to my plane select, grab that plane again, and this time when I extrude, it's going to pull it out. You see that line that it's going to move along right there, that yellow. It's at the same angle that I've created. So I grab it and pull, and now I'm creating a new angle, a new section to the leg. If I turn it, see, now I'm starting to get it to look more like a bendy little leg. So I'm going to click off my faces, go back to vertex, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab the top 2, holding our shift key, missed it, there. And then we're going to go change our view so that it's easiest. You don't want to move that in the perspective view because it will distort quickly. So now I've got those 2 selected, and I'm going to move them again. So now, whoops, now we're getting a little crazy. So let's see, if I just grab and pull down, so I'm not using the I'm not moving directly along the axis at this point. So now it's starting to look a little bit more spindly. This is entirely up to you how you want to shape it. I'm going to go back to the face setting, grab it, and I'm going to extrude again. And you can do this as many times as you want. So now there's my little bug leg. And if I change my, well, you may want to flatten that so that it looks like it drops down to the flat, a flat surface. To do that again, I'm going to go back to vertex, grab these two outer, vertex, change my view again, and I'm going to try to get it to the right view. And I'm going to try and just line it up with the grid a little bit. Whoops, don't want to do that. I forgot to grab my move tool. So if I move it straight down until eventually it looks flat, it's pretty close. And there you go, there's my bug leg. Pretty cool, huh? Now you could take the whole thing if you wanted. If we go back to object mode, okay, so it's going to grab the whole thing. Use my rotate tool and maybe rotate it up. Now we're starting to get that sort of buggy, arachnid looking shape again because they carry their weight in such a strange way. So we got that, and then I can go back in and edit, back to the edit mode, go back and grab those two vertices again, 1 and shift 2, go back to my right viewport, and use my move tool, and then try to get that flat looking again. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we rotate around, let's go back to object mode, there's my leg. Okay, pretty easy. Pause for a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so now we need to make some more legs. So the easiest way to do that is with my leg selected. I'm just going to hit Shift D. Oops. Let's get in the right program. Shift D, and it just made a duplicate. So I'm going to click to place it, and then I'm going to Shift D again. So now I've got 3 legs on this side. So now it's just a matter of positioning these legs where I want them to be. So as you see right now, they're kind of all on different levels. So I'm going to change my viewport to front. So there I've got an orthographic view, and you can see this one is way down low, and I kind of want them all lined up with this middle one. So I'm going to go back to my front view and pull it up and kind of get it close as I can. There's probably an align tool, but you don't have to be super detailed with this this one. So there, they're all on the same plane. So now I've got to get to my top view right there. So I'm not moving along any other planes except right and left. And what I'm going to do is grab one and rotate it so that I can control where it sort of its position along the body. And then I can use my move tool and just grab these and kind of just make sure that that piece at the back is inside the body. And you can make more legs than just this 3 if you want to actually be a spider. You can do 4 legs. So I've got that. That looks pretty good. And then what I can do is click and shift and shift and shift. So now I've got all 3 selected. And I'm going to Shift D again. And now I've got 3 more legs. And I'm going to click them kind of randomly. And then I'm going to rotate the whole thing because they're all shift selected, so they're all one group. turn it all the way around. So obviously they're going to be a reflection of the legs that we've already got. And then I'm just going to drag them over and position them with my move tool. And now let's look at it. Oh, looky there. We've got a pretty good looking bug. So now the rest is pretty much cosmetic. So if we go and add another mesh sphere, boom, I'll pull it out here. I'm going to scale it down. Scale. I'm just going to grab anywhere here. Whoops. I gotta grab inside the circle. Sorry. Come on, work with me. Oh, it's still on the move tool. So now we go to scale. Grab. Uh-oh. Something's going crazy. Getting out of control. There we go. And then we use our move tool. Jump up to our top view. And this will be an eyeball. And I know its face is facing the right viewport, so I'm going to turn it to the right and kind of move it up. And then Shift D creates a second one. And then it's just a matter of positioning it where you want it. Okay. Nothing too difficult so far, right? Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. Alright, so one other thing that we can do is maybe this guy needs some antenna. So what I'm going to do is Shift select the two of those, and I'm going to Shift D to duplicate. So now I got those up front here. Go to my top view, and I'm going to rotate those. So I'm going to grab the outside circle here and turn it like so. I'm going to move them and scale them down. Okay, so now I'm going to move them again. And so now they're in the top, still in the top view. Now I'm going to switch over to the front of the insect, which would be the right view. Obviously these are way down low, so with my move selected, I'm going to move the blue, the Z-axis, and let's look a little closer and see what we got. So I've created two antennae. They're a little kind of covering up the eyes a little bit, so I'm going to switch to my side view, which is actually the front. Yep. And I'm going to rotate them again. I'm going to rotate them upwards. That looks a little better. So there's my antenna. So again, I'm just using the same shapes over and over. You could go back in and manipulate these with your edit mode if you want to start changing the shape of this a little bit more, making it more rounded in certain ways or whatnot. But for the most part, I'm just wanting you guys to get a feel for how the program works. So this is to give you some idea of what goes into making a model. Okay. So one of the other things we can do is in edit mode. So on vertex select, right here. So you see all of my vertexes are lit up because everything is selected right now. So to select everything, it's A, the A key, or deselect everything would also be A. But I don't want to be in this mode. I'm going to go back to faces mode. And I'm going to start just selecting some of these faces. I'm going to hold my shift key and just grab a handful of these. something like that. So with them all selected, I'm going to turn them a little bit, and I'm going to extrude the whole region at once. So there we go. I'm going to select, hold Shift, select some more, and extrude some more. So now I got some kind of a buggy mandible going on there. Pretty cool, huh? So you could manipulate this quite a lot in order to get it to be even more in depth. I'll go back to my object mode. And hold on a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so down here, you sort of your pieces parts. So you can see as I click on each of these cubes, each of the legs is lighting up. And then here's my spheres that different parts, even my light, which is right there. So one of the things I want to do next is just kind of smooth out these legs. So I'm going to Shift select all the legs and go down here to the toolbar, this little wrench. I'm going to add a modifier. So if I click on that, I can go down here to smooth and click on that, and it looks like it's only doing the last one, but we'll see if, yep, it's only doing one at a time. So I can change the factor in the smooth. I'm going to set it to 2, we'll say. So now it looks a little bit more like a bug. I'm going to do the same thing. Set it to 2. So the modifier is there on each of these that I've selected. Well, that one, not that one. So for some reason, it's not adding the modifier on everything. But let's set everything to 2. So it's kind of a little more insect looking. Smooth. 2 tab. Go here, select this guy. 2. And the last one. That didn't really work, did it? Let me see what's going on here. Ah, there's an extra one there. So delete. Let's get rid of this one. There. That looks even better, right? So let's do the same with the antenna. Let's smooth it down. Try 1. Do the same with the antenna over here. 1. Okay. So now we're looking even better, even more bug-like. We could add the smoother to the sphere, but you know, it's not doing a whole lot to it because it's already pretty smooth looking. Now this one with the mandibles may do something a little different, so let's try it. So there, I can start, oops, let's go back to where, slide it. And it looks pretty interesting. Gets a little crazy going the other way. Oh, now look at that. That's kind of cool. I just kind of pick in the middle there. So, kind of neat, huh? So this is all cosmetic stuff at this point. So now we can go down to this little globe thing down at the bottom. This is your materials. And I'm going to select the body, and I'm going to add a new material. Click. So here's my base color. So I'm going to click on that. I'll make them a bright greenish color. Just like that. Maybe a little darker. Right down here somewhere. Okay. And there's my green color. Let's see if it'll apply the material. And preview. That's what it will look like. Right now it's very shiny. The it's got a high specularly. So that's what it's doing at the moment. So let's add it to the model. Click on. I don't know what's going on here. Hold on a second, let me see what's up. Okay, I think I got it figured out. So if we kick over to rendering, you can see nothing. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry about that. So one of the things I want to do real quick is I want to jump to my top view. I want to move my camera, so I can select it, select move just like any other object. Pull it back a ways here. So I'm trying to see the whole insect with my camera view. So if I go to view, viewport camera, okay, I'm aiming a little low, so I need to rotate it. So if I can go to my, let's see, front, maybe change it, rotate it a little bit up. Now check my camera view. So I'm getting closer. I'm just trying to get the whole bug in the viewport. So go to my top view, and I'm still in rotate, so I'm going to turn it a little bit. Now check it. That's pretty good. I'm going to maybe raise it up a little bit again. Viewport, right. Let's move the whole thing up just a bit. There we go. That's good enough. I just want to make sure I can see my bug through my camera view. So let's go back to just my perspective view. So I've got this one selected. I've added a material to it. So I did that by clicking new material. I chose the color here, and that's all I did was with that selected and clicked, it should have added it. So just to check, I'm going to go to shading. So there I can see my green body. So if I grab my leg back here, I can add a new color and say we'll give him some kind of turquoise sea foam green color legs, and click off it. So now I can see it there. And now I can click an empty one and just use the pull down menu. Material 3. I can do this for all the legs. So I'm in shading tab here, so I can see each of the legs individually in the right colors. So there's the colors. Let's say we'll make the eyes that same seafoam green. Why not, right? And then let's create some new colors for the head. So add new. Let's select, let's see, maybe this sort of ugly green yellow will work. And then for the antennas, let's make that a new color as well. Let's say he's got some purplish kind of, let's see, blue. Blue works. Then I select the other one and just add it, material 5. So there you go. There's your bug. So at this point, all you really got to do is do a screenshot of your screen and turn that in. We're not really going to worry about rendering or outputting anything specific, as long as I can see that you've made a stab at playing with Blender, and yeah, it should be good enough. You can create, again, anything you want to create. but this just shows you what is possible. So if you have to hire somebody to create an animation, you should have a good idea of what is going into everything that they are doing. Sound good? Okay, so again, just do a screenshot. If you're in Mac, you can just Command-Shift-3 to get the whole frame, just like that. Or you can Command-Shift-4 to grab a section. If you're in Windows, you can go to the Windows accessories and use the snipping tool and do a screenshot that way and just save it. Okay, that's it for Blender, at least for the scope of what we're doing with it. Again, we're just skimming the surface, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you had some fun.